Hello friends, today I'll be talking on this 24th COVID-19 update. So this is a small snippet just to talk about this new drug called Aviptadil or called RLF 100. So this drug I was completely unaware. So this came as a WhatsApp forward around 2 days back in various intensive care groups. So I was just keen to understand what this drug is all about and would it really create magic in COVID-19 and improve the survival? So I think these are the WhatsApp forwards. I'm sure many of my friends in intensive care would have got it. So this was the one which came in live mint, and this was the second WhatsApp group, WhatsApp forward. So these two forwards pretty much came simultaneously across various platforms. So I'm not sure how many of you would have dwelled into trying to understand what this new drug is all about, whether there seems to be a promise in in using this drug, if at all, if it is available. So as of now, I'm very unsure whether this drug is available in India, but there are trials that are happening with this drug in USA. So we need to see whether this stands this test of time in trying to prove its mettle. So, what is this whole drug about Aviptadil? So this was so when you try to Google, so you will see very few articles or there's very less information on this drug. So this was one of the brief sort of a narrative that I found: intravenous Aviptadil for critical COVID-19 with respiratory failure. So Aviptadil is a vasoactive intestinal polypeptide. So it is codenamed as RLF 100. So we need to understand how this drug acts and how does it improve the outcome in patients with COVID. And this drug is pitted in COVID patients who are very sick, who are on mechanical ventilator, and it has shown to improve outcome in some anecdotal reports. So how does this act? So what we need to understand is in lung there are uh, different types of cells. So this is alveolar type 2 cells which are present in the lung, and it constitutes 5% of the cells of the alveolar epithelium. So this is alveolar type 2 cells, and this alveolar type 2 cells expresses two receptors. So one is VPAC1 receptors and the second one is ACE2 receptors. So we know the COVID-19 or coronavirus binds to this ACE2 receptors through the spike protein and enters into the cells and causes the havoc. So what Aviptadil does is Aviptadil binds to the VPAC receptors which is present on the alveolar type 2 cells, and it is shown to bind to up to 70% of the VPAC receptors which are present are bound by vasoactive intestinal peptide when it is delivered either by intravenous or by inhalation. So what does it happen? So what really happens after this Aviptadil binds to the VPAC1? So by binding to this VPAC1 receptors, it helps in improving the oxygen transport in the alveoli, and it enhances the surfactant production, which is very protective for the lungs. And the third most important thing is it alveolar type 2 cells, with the help of this VPAC receptors binding to Aviptadil, it helps to maintain the integrity of alveolar type 1 cells. So this is the important mechanism. So it improves oxygen transport, increases surfactant productions, and it helps to maintain the integrity of alveolar type 1 cells also. Alongst with this, the vasoactive intestinal peptide, once it binds, it prevents the NMDA mediated caspase 3 activation within the lung. So this caspase 3 activation leads to lot of deleterious effects. So what are the deleterious effects? So basically by preventing, it protects and prevents the formation of pulmonary edema, which typically happens in ARDS, and by preventing this NMDA mediated activation of caspase, it inhibits the production of IL-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, or the cytokine production, which typically causes lot of lung damage. So there is an inhibition of production of this cytokine storm. Especially we know that IL-6 seems to be an important cytokine which leads to ARDS and deleterious effects, and there are drugs which are pitted against this IL-6. So it does inhibit the production of IL-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, and it then increases or enhances your surfactant production. So this pretty much is the mechanism of action of avibtaril. And the second most important mechanism by which it maintains the integrity of the lung and prevents damage is you have this alveolar capillary sort of a barrier or a membrane, and the integrity of this membrane is maintained. So it restores the barrier function of the alveolar capillary interface. So that barrier integrity or the interface is maintained or protected by this avibtaril. So what about the clinical studies? So it is shown that avibtaril has been in use in various trials over last 20 years, and there are three different conditions in which trials have been done. So it has been tried in sarcoidosis, and it has been tried in pulmonary fibrosis, and recently it has been tried in ARDS. So you have a very small anecdotal reports or case series where avibtaril has been tried in ARDS. So there is one small case series where they have used avibtaril or vasoactive intestinal peptide in 8 mechanical ventilated patients, and they found, and these were sick ARDS patients who were mechanically ventilated, and they could successfully extubate 7 patients who were alive at 5 days, and the 6 were discharged home. So this was a case series that you would see when you review the literature in ARDS. So, and this was a phase 1 trial. So there are not huge randomized control trials or even a big sort of a phase 3 trial that has happened. So it's a very small trial where they have looked into some benefit of using this avibtaril, and the side effects that is touted is it we'll talk into the next slide. So the first news of avibtaril being used in COVID-19 ARDS came from this Houston Methodist Hospital in USA, where they used in 54-year-old male who underwent double lung transplant and who also had a COVID-19 infection, and they found remarkable improvement in his gas exchange, and they could salvage this person. And subsequently they have reported its usage in around 15 patients. So we do not have much details as to what has been the outcome from the Houston Methodist Hospital where they have used in these 15 patients. So the dosage we need to extrapolate, because when you try to Google and try to look for the dosage, you don't see much at all about the what sort of a IV dosage or what sort of a dosage is being used. So we possibly have to extrapolate from the studies that have been done in interstitial pulmonary fibrosis. So the dosage typically that are used is 50 to 150, 50 to 150 picomoles per kg per hour for 12 hours as an infusion. So this is the dosage they have used in interstitial pulmonary fibrosis. So we possibly have to extrapolate the dosage would be around this one, and definitely it has to be used as an infusion over 12 hours or maybe longer. So we need to see what sort of recommendations to come, and the side effects are not very significant. So there could be alteration of heart rate and episodic heart rate and blood pressure, or some ECG changes is what has been reported. So if you look at the trials, clinical trials, what sort of clinical trials are coming? So there are 3 clinical trials registered if you see in USA. So this is one where it's a COVID AIV trial, intravenous avibtaril for critical COVID-19 with respiratory failure. So the second trial is RLF 100 intermediate population expanded access protocol called SAMI CARE trial. And there is a third trial where they're using it as an inhalation. So inhaled avibtaril for the treatment of moderate and severe COVID-19. So the dosage they have sort of tentatively put is using around 3 puffs a day through vibrating mesh nebulizer of 100 micrograms is what has been mentioned. So we need to see what these trials show, and the number of patients they are looking at is around 50 to 70 in many of these trials. And one of the trial, I think the first trial is purported to be completed by September 2020. So we would possibly see the results of these trials late in maybe September end or maybe in October after the completion of these trials. So we wouldn't have much data prior to that. And so if you look at, if you try to search, I think this is the one I could find, but this particular drug, what you see there, which is available as injection from the UK. So this has been used predominantly for erectile dysfunction along with pentolamine. And for this particular drug, what you see on the screen, so this is available along with pentolamine, and they give the syringes, specialized syringes, to be injected for erectile dysfunction. So otherwise, you wouldn't get much information as to how it has to be administered. So that's about aviptadil, or vasoactive intestinal peptide, or RF100. So that's RLF100. So so we do not have much information at this point of time about how effective this drug would be. We are completely unsure whether this drug is available at all in India. So for anyone who is excited that we could start using it, possibly this drug is not available. So maybe we may have to possibly wait until September end for this at least one or two trials to be completed before we can make some logical conclusions. So thank you very much. So if you wish to rehear to this lecture, you can visit my website www.drpradeeprangappa.com to rehear to this lecture. So thank you.